Hi everybody, I'm Katie. Thanks for watching AADL TV. Today I'm going to be talking about growing microgreens. It's something that I've been enjoying doing for the last couple of months, and I think you might like it too. So microgreens are shoots of vegetables like arugula, Swiss chard, mustard greens that are picked just after the first leaves have developed. They are incredibly delicious. I like to put them on salads and sandwiches and wraps, and they're also really good for you. The nutrients are concentrated, so they often contain higher vitamin, mineral, and antioxidant levels than mature greens. So check out what I've been growing these days. I'm just finishing up this tray of sunflower microgreens. These are actually what inspired me to start doing this. I love these. They used to have trays of these at the restaurant that I worked at, and I would load them up on my salad. And they also sell them at the farmer's market, so I've often bought them there, but I thought, why not try and grow my own? And it has been really successful, and they are wonderful. And the other thing that I'm growing right now are some beet microgreens. So you can see what beautiful color those have. I have not tried them yet, but I'm planning on having some on my salad this evening, so I'll come back and let you know what I think. So you can see that both of these trays are soil-based. That is how I have been growing my microgreens, is in soil. You can also grow microgreens hydroponically, so with a water system, but this is how I'd seen it done and what I was familiar with, and so this is what I decided to go for. I was looking all over online to see how I wanted to get started, and there's lots of different kinds of kits out there. I was seeing a ton of hydroponic kits like in the big box stores, and so I started looking around at some smaller places to see if I could find somebody who would get me started with soil-based microgreens. And so I did find this company called True Leaf Market, and I got their soil-based microgreens starter kit. I chose to go with a kit, but all of this stuff that they sent in the kit you could buy individually in sizes that you were comfortable with. So I'm going to show you what arrived in the kit that I got. So first of all, there was some potting soil. So there were 2 bags about this size, and they have gotten me through about 4 of these trays. But I'm running out, so I'm going to have to start supplementing with some potting soil that I have in my garage. They also sent a whole mess of sunflower seeds. So this is the reason that I went with this kit, was because I knew that it was going to be very sunflower seed heavy, and I knew that was the microgreen that I really liked and wanted to grow. So got a bunch of those. Then I got some buckwheat. I did grow some buckwheat microgreens. I did not know what that was when I first got them, but it's not wheat. It's actually a member of the rhubarb family. So I did grow some of these microgreens. They were good. I like them. They're not my favorite. They're just like a little bit stringier and not as hardy as, say, the sunflower microgreens. I've got the beets that you see that I'm growing right now. Some cilantro, which I have not tried yet. And then these are dun peas, so I haven't tried those either yet. Something to note is that with sunflower seeds or peas, things that have a little bit of a harder outer shell, you're going to need to soak those overnight before planting them. I also got a pH testing kit, so you can test the pH of your water and make sure that it's at the ideal level for growing sprouts. This is interesting. Mine, you're looking for this, I don't know if you can see here, you're looking for like this level 6 here. Mine always comes out at a level 7, so I end up adding some vinegar to the water, which brings the pH level down. So there's instructions when you get a pH kit on what to do with your water depending on how it tests. And I also got a spray bottle. So this is how you water your microgreens. So that is the basic kit, and I think we'll go ahead and do some planting. Oh, I forgot to mention the trays. So also came with 6 trays. To start out, we're gonna fill them with the soil and then put the seeds in, and then you cover it until the microgreens are pretty well established in there. So they sent 6 of these trays so you have multiple going at a time. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is put in my dirt. And actually, this is gonna fill most of it. You wanna have about 2 inches deep of dirt. I'm just gonna spread this out, and I'm actually kind of surprised and pleasantly surprised that I think that that's gonna be enough dirt for this tray. So I'm just kind of spreading it out, making sure it's smooth, and now I need to go grab my seeds that are soaking. Be right back. All right, so you can see I've soaked these sunflower seeds, and then I just quickly drained them using my hand, and it's about 3 tablespoons worth. They say do 2 to 3 tablespoons, so I always do the maximum amount so that I can get the most microgreens. So I'm just sprinkling them over top of the soil as evenly as I can. But you don't have to be super regimented about this. You know, we're not putting them in rows or anything like that. Just sprinkle them so that they're evenly spread out. If you notice any spots that are missing seeds, fill it in a little bit. And then, so I've got all my seeds in the dirt, I'm just going to gently pat the top of the surface. So I don't want them to go underneath the soil, and I don't even really want them embedded too far in there. If you see any that are really clumped up, you can spread them out a little bit. But just sort of make sure that those are in there. I don't know how much you can see. It's sort of black on black. But then, I'm just going to take my water that I've pH balanced already in my spray bottle and just get it nice and wet. And then I'm going to cover it, and then I'm going to spray it twice a day. So I usually do it right after I get up in the morning, and then after dinner. I did it a couple times before dinner, and then my sprouts were all wet when I wanted to eat them. So now I do it after dinner. All right, that is looking pretty good. So I am going to cover it with my other tray, and I am planning on checking in with you every day so that you can see the progress of the sunflower microgreens, and I'll also let you know what I think of the beet microgreens. And so, see you tomorrow. Hey folks, I'm back. Today is Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday when I planted the sunflower seeds to make microgreens. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update. You can see that I took a pretty good chunk out of my beet microgreens last night for my salad with my dinner, and it was really interesting because when I cut them, you could smell the beets, and that was really cool. I thought it was great. But then once I put them on my salad, they were kind of overwhelmed with all the other flavors that I had going on, so I really could not taste the beets. That said, they're beautiful on salad, so if you ever want to impress somebody with your lovely salad making skills, I would highly recommend it because it did look really, really nice. You can also see, let me pull one of these out, see if you can see. So they're very skinny and not very robust, sort of how I like my microgreens. So I found that to be very similar to the buckwheat that I've grown previously. But this does have the added benefit of the color being so pretty. But be careful if you do grow these you should have like a piece of paper towel or something down when you're collecting them, because they will stain any surface that you lay them down on. That color is very strong, so be careful with these. I'm glad that I grew them though. They're really impressive looking, and I'm happy about that. Now on to the sunflower seeds that I planted yesterday. Are you all ready for the big reveal? Here we go. Just kidding. It's only day 2, so nothing has happened. They look exactly like they did yesterday. So I'll do another update once we start seeing some progress here and there's something that I can actually show you. But I did want to mention something else today, and that is to talk about this tray of microgreens that is pretty much done. I've finished it. There's some left in the middle, but they're pretty dried out. I think I might have missed watering these as well or something. But this tray is done. And in the instructions that I got with the kit, it says that you should just compost this. But to me, that seemed like it could be a waste of some pretty good soil. So what I've been doing is just tediously pulling these out and then reusing the soil. I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to get away with doing that, just because the hulls or the shells from the sunflowers are still in here. But honestly, they do look pretty easy to pick out too. So I think I'm going to try and reuse this dirt at least one more time, maybe a couple of more times, just because, you know, why waste it? And potting soil can be expensive, so might as well try and reuse what I can. So I will do that a little bit later. And the other thing that I'll do today is water these guys. I don't have my spritzer handy, so I'm not going to show you, but I assure you, you'll see me do it again. Anyway, I will be back as soon as we see some progress from these sunflower microgreens. All right, bye. Hi there. It's Friday morning, and I'm about to check on my microgreens and give them a little bit of water. First, you can see that my beet microgreens are still doing well. I've been eating them. These are doing fine, but the real thing that we want to check out is how are our sunflower microgreens doing. So let's see. Take the lid off, and you can see that they are sprouting nicely. So they're even across the tray. Everybody's coming up. So it's a really good sign. Everything's going really well. I'm just going to give them a little bit of water. So I'm just going to spritz the whole tray. Remember, this is my pH balanced water. And just spritz the whole thing. I go over it once or twice usually. Just make sure it gets nice and damp. And then right now, just because they're not totally well established, they're not sticking their little heads up yet, we're going to just put the cover back on and leave that. That'll be probably another day or 2 before I end up leaving the cover off permanently. So I'm just going to spray my beet microgreens, keep them nice and healthy so I can eat them some more. And that's about it for today. Not a whole lot more to say. I'll be back. Hi, it's Monday morning, and as you can see, my sunflower microgreens have grown quite a bit. They are nice and tall. One thing that I've noticed is that they aren't as dense, so I don't have as many as I expected, or maybe you can tell there's not as many in there as the tray that I showed you at the beginning of the video. I think that it's possible that I left the top tray on slightly too long. I did notice when I took it off that the greens were a little bit yellow. That problem is solved with them being in the sun a little bit, but it might have affected how many microgreens I got, but they're still beautiful and still potentially see some others that might still come up. So I'll check back one more time with you and we'll see if they get any thicker, but these are totally pickable and edible now. Nice little sunflower microgreens. They look great. Some of them still have the little hull, the outside shell of the sunflower seed attached, and what I do is just gently pick that off, and if I hadn't picked this already, this top would then open up, and so it's just helping them a little bit move along and get ready for your salad. So that's something that I do, and I'm going to give them their morning spritz. And I probably, geez, I don't know what I'm having for dinner yet, but if I am having salad, I probably will take some of these. But the great thing about that is if I pick some of them and then there's still some growing, the ones that are still growing will still have the opportunity to become a fully grown sunflower microgreen. All right, so there's not a whole lot left of this process other than harvesting these, and I think that tomorrow I'll just check back and see if we've gotten any more growth so I can tell you about that. I'll show you how I harvest them, and I've still got some beets left, so I'll show you how I harvest those as well. All right, see you then. All right, it is Tuesday morning, and I am happy to report that my sunflower microgreens seem to have filled in a bit since yesterday, so that's great. Some of the ones that were really short and kind of still down into the soil have popped up, so I'm really happy to see that, and they're looking great. They're ready to eat. They're ready to harvest, so I'm going to show you how to do that. It is a couple of hours after I spritz them first thing this morning, so they're dry, and I just take just normal pair of scissors, and one way I'll do it is I'll choose, say, the tallest ones, and I just snip at the bottom of the sprout. So I get these long microgreens, but you don't have to do it like that. Just make sure that the hulls are off of the section that you're going to be cutting, and you can grab a whole bunch of them and just snip like that. And see, I've got a bunch at a time. I'm just putting them in this little container because I'm going to save them for my dinner later. A lot of times I will just cut them right before I eat. But today, since I'm showing you, I'm cutting a little bit earlier, so I'm going to put them in the fridge when I'm done. All right, I like to get a lot of these. I kind of load them on whatever I'm eating tonight, probably with a salad. And with a salad, I actually use them like they're just regular old greens. I'll throw a big old pile on there because I just like the way that they taste so much. So I'm just going to get a couple more here. And I'll try and generally stay like in the same quarter area so that it just makes it easier to water the rest of them. And I'm not wasting water on sections that might not have very many microgreens. All right, just get a couple more. It's looking pretty good. I like the sunflower microgreens the best. They're very, very easy to harvest. I'm going to show you harvesting the beets, which is, I think, a little bit more complicated, but they've got a nice container of sunflower microgreens that I will eat later. And you could harvest the whole thing at once, as long as you were going to use them relatively soon, probably within a couple of days. Just put them in a container in the fridge, and then you free up all this space. But I just leave mine and cut them as needed. All right, here's our beet microgreens. They're so much shorter and finer, and they just sort of clump together. These ones you really need to make sure that the hulls are off. They're very small outer seed shells, and if you bite down on one when you're eating, it's not a pleasant experience. So what I like to do is just, let's see if you can see this, I've just like taken a handful of them and just cutting my scissors on the bottom This is what I pull away. If you do pull, and I've got a little root here, if I pull any of that, I just trim it off. And then I just try and look through here and make sure I don't have any of those little tiny seed holes on there so I don't bite into them. Just gonna do this a couple more times. Just grabbing handfuls. Getting rid of any soil I pull out. Let's see, there's my little handfuls. I see a hull, so I'm gonna pull that off, get that out of there. There's another one. So I find this to be just a little bit more complicated than harvesting the sunflower microgreens. They're still cool. It's still fun to do, but they're also very small. Do one more. All right, one more handful. Beets. Still got some hulls. Seems like I always get some. All right, looking good. Put those in there. Talked about this before, but really you do want to have a container when harvesting the beets because they land on my table. They leave a mark, nice, pretty pink, red mark from their natural coloring. So it's good to have a container. So I think that I've told you everything that I know about growing microgreens, and I appreciate you watching. I hope that you try it and enjoy it as much as I do. And thanks for watching AADL TV. Bye!